James here from Big Block Blu-ray, and this is my review of the Wrestling Extravaganza Wrestlemania 30. So as you all know, this is the Super Bowl of wrestling, and this was the show of the year, and I finally got the WWE Network, so I wanted to go ahead and review Wrestlemania 30 and let you guys know what I thought of the pay-per-view as a whole. Just for starters, starting off, I would say that, I enjoyed this WrestleMania quite a bit. And, of course, there's one thing that just absolutely blew my mind. And any of you who watched it know what I'm talking about. So let's get into it. The very first match was a four-way tag team title match between the Real Americans, Ryback, Los Matadores, and the Usos. And this was the pre-show match. It was only available on the WWE Network, and it was, like I said, it was before the show started on pay-per-view. And I am really mad that this wasn't on the main card because the chemistry that the Usos have with the Real Americans is real good. I mean, the rivalry is great. Their in-ring action is great. And it's just, they're really good together. So I don't understand why they didn't put this on the main card, especially when I'll get into it later, but especially in front of one of the matches that they put on the main card. So anyway, the match starts out. You got all four tag teams. They can tag each other in. The Los Matadores or whatever are out first with Swagger. Puts an ankle lock on one of them off the top rope. One of the guys jumped off the top rope, and Swagger caught him and put him in the ankle lock. So they're out. Then Ryback gets eliminated by Cesaro, by Cesaro's finish. I forget what it's called, but anyway. So then the end of the match comes when the Usos use a double splash, frog splash off the top rope onto Cesaro, I believe. Yeah, and or maybe it was a Swagger. I don't remember, but anyway, they double splashed them, and they get the win. They keep the titles, so that's good, because after the match, you see Swagger and Cesaro, get into it. Swagger puts Cesaro in the ankle lock, and then tries to apologize afterwards. And Cesaro puts Swagger in the spinneroonie or spin slam or whatever you want to call it. And so it looks like they're breaking up, which is, it's due, I think. I hate to see it because they're such a good tag team. But, they're going to break up. So I would give that match 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought that was an excellent match to begin the show. Like I said, the chemistry in there was great, and it was just a really good match. So then we have the beginning of WrestleMania. And, of course, you have Hulk Hogan come out because he's the host. And he comes out and screws up the entrance, or he screws up the announcing by saying the Silver Dome instead of the Super Dome. And the fans started booing. But it was cool. They played it off. He made a joke out of it. So then, as he's talking, Stone Cold's music hits. Stone Cold comes out, and, he does this thing, running his mouth. And then he's about to, finish up, and then boom, The Rock's music hits, and The Rock comes out. So that was a super cool way to start off the show. You got the three biggest icons in wrestling, standing there in the ring, and they're basically, just, blowing up WrestleMania. And then, of course, at the end, Stone Cold gets some beers tossed in. They all have a beer, and it was a cool moment to see those three guys in the ring. It was good, and they didn't steal any of the spotlight or anything. I thought it was cool. They came out, did their thing, and then they left. I don't know why they really called Hulk Hogan the host because he really didn't do anything other than that. But anyway, so then the first match of the actual show was Triple H versus Daniel Bryan, and it made sense to put this match first because whoever won was going to be in the championship match, and we didn't know exactly where that was going to be on the card, so. But anyway, this was a fantastic match. There was an awesome entrance for Triple H. He comes out in this huge, Spartan gear with this helmet on, and his music's playing, and it was cool. You know, he came out cool. And then Daniel Bryan, you know, came out to his normal deal. And I thought the beginning of the match was kind of slow. There was a lot of like headlocks and holds and submissions and, you know, things like that. So it was kind of slow at the beginning. It seemed like Triple H was a little bit out of shape, but, you know, that's understandable. You know, he doesn't wrestle full time anymore. So, but, you know, I think they did really, you know, really good back and forth. It was really brutal. Triple H did like an arm breaker off the announce table to Daniel Bryan. He was really working his shoulder and arm, you know, as an injury. He did a brutal back breaker on the apron of the ring onto Daniel Bryan. I thought Stephanie was really annoying in this match. She really didn't do anything and didn't add to it, so I thought that was kind of, you know, pointless to have her out there. But and another thing that I noticed during this match, it was really nice to see the announce team just calling the match. You know, I'm tired of on Raw and SmackDown how they, you know, all they want to talk about is Twitter and Facebook and all this crap while matches are going on. They're not paying attention, and it's kind of annoying. So I like how, you know, they were just announcing the matches. Their full attention was on that, so that was really cool, which is probably how all the pay-per-views are. I don't know. I haven't seen any of the pay-per-views. Like I said, I just got the WWE Network. So I will be doing more reviews on pay-per-views. So then at the end of the match, Daniel Bryan kicks out of a pedigree, and Daniel hits Triple H with the flying knee and wins. I gave this match a 3.5 out of 5 stars because I thought, you know, it was a really decent match, but it was really slow at the beginning. So Daniel Bryan wins. Then, of course, Triple H and Stephanie, you know, go crazy. They assault Daniel Bryan with a chair. They beat him, you know, beat his injured shoulder. You know, it really built the heel persona for the Authority, and it also built up Daniel Bryan's injury. So already, you know, once that happened, I was thinking, okay, well, they may not let Bryan get this title because of this injury, you know. So, you know, I don't know. So we, you know, had to watch on. The next match was the Authority, or I mean, it was Kane, which they're calling part of the Authority, with the Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, and that was versus the Shield. Now this match is the one I was talking about earlier. I think if they were going to book it like this, they should have put this on the pre-show. Of course, this would have been a very short pre-show match, or maybe they could have gave them time in the pre-show. But the Shield is too good to be. This is 2 years in a row at WrestleMania that the Shield was in a match for like less than 2 minutes, and the Shield are some incredibly talented guys, and they've had some incredible matches over the past, you know, few months with the Wyatts and stuff like that. Anyway, Kane and them. I thought Kane should have came out with his red costume, you know, and been the big red machine, but he came out in his little suit pants or whatever. And this was basically a squash match. I mean, the Shield just beat the living crap out of Kane and the New Age Outlaws. And, you know, they knocked Kane out of the ring, so he was out of the way. And then basically pinned the New Age Outlaws, and then they picked him up. They picked both of them up and did that triple power bomb to both of the members at the same time. So one of them was on his right shoulder, and the other one was on his left shoulder. And they triple power bombed that both guys. So that was a pretty cool spot right there. But, you know, I just thought that the Shield, their talent was kind of wasted because they, you know, they only showcased for less than 2 minutes. But I mean, I can understand the way it was booked. You know, the Shield are an incredible force, and I think, you know, they should have went over like they did. But, you know, I would have liked to have seen them wrestle someone else and have a more epic match because their skills weren't really shown that well. And Dean Ambrose's character, I don't know what's going on with him. He's like now he's like this crazy wild man, and like I don't really like that gimmick. But you know, the other two are just awesome. That Superman punch, what's his name? Anyway, that one guy has is amazing, and I think he's a really cool. You know, he's going to be a really cool guy up and coming, you know, for the next however long. The next match was the Battle Royal. This was 30 men in the ring. And anytime you have these kind of matches, it's always at the beginning just a giant mess. So the first 10 minutes were just basically getting rid of the trash, getting rid of the, people that never had a chance to win it in the first place. There was some cool spots in it where Sheamus gave like 100 chest punches to Fandango. I mean, basically beat him silly and then just pushed him off the apron. There was another cool spot where Cesaro uppercutted Mysterio right out of the ring. That was cool. Um, there was another cool spot where Cesaro threw Kofi Kingston over the top rope. And I don't know if they meant to do this or if they planned it or not, because it looked like they didn't plan it. But anyway, he launches Kofi over the rope, over the top rope. Kofi flies out to the floor, but keeps his feet on the stairs. And the rules are, if your feet touch the floor, you're out. So he keeps his tiptoes on the stairs. Then he kind of crawls back and gets back in the ring. So that was an awesome spot right there, and it looked totally like it was unplanned, and it was another one of those amazing moments that Kofi Kingston pulls off, even though he's not going to win the whole match as a whole. But it was still a cool spot. And then Cesaro picks up the win by picking up the Big Show, who's supposedly 500 pounds or whatever. I mean, he looks like it, and basically throws him out of the ring. This guy Cesaro, man, is incredible in his strength. I mean, he's big and muscular, but he's just so much stronger than he looks. Don't get me wrong, he looks like a strong guy and like he's in shape, but I just can't imagine how this guy does some of the things he does. I mean, he is one powerful, athletic individual. So it's cool that he won. He's a young guy. He went over, so I love that, and I love the fact that he's going to be bright for the future of the WWE. So I'm excited to see where they take his character, especially now that he's split up with Swagger. He can flourish on his own, and I gave that match 4 out of 5 stars, just because there were some really cool spots in it, and I like who went over in the match. So the 5th match, you had Cena versus Bray Wyatt. This was a really awesome match psychological-wise. I loved Bray's entrance. They had a band, that I don't know what the band's name is, but that does his entrance theme. They were there singing the song. It was cool. There was awesome psychology in this match, going back and forth, as Bray Wyatt was trying to, basically didn't care if he won or lost. He was just trying to get Cena to basically become heel, which is what we all want. I mean, as far as the internet community, fans, we're tired of seeing Cena do the same thing, and it looked like, Cena may do it. And he kept, faking it, and like he was going to lose control, and basically Bray was just trying to get him to, kept yelling, finish me, and, it was really cool to see that. Cena got in all of his normal moves, and his shoulder bumps and his "you can't see me" and all that. But one cool spot, Cena was about to do his "you can't see me," and then Bray Wyatt just jumped up in that exorcist spider backwards, whatever thing he does. I think it's incredible that a man of his size and weight can do that. It's cool, and I think it's really awesome that his character, it fits his character so well. Because he's that creepy, weird guy. And like I was telling my wife, I was thinking that whenever Bray and the Wyatts came out, that I was thinking they were going to be somewhat of a Duck Dynasty kind of gimmick, because they got the long beards and they got the funky flowery shirts and everything. And I figured they were going to be like that. And I'm so glad the direction they took, and they're these creepy, weird guys, and it works, So I'm so glad that Husky Harris / Bray Wyatt found his calling, and found, what works for him, because it's really working well. There were some cool spots in this match. Bray Wyatt almost did like a rock bottom to Cena. It was pretty cool. And then at one spot in the match, the crowd was singing, "He's got the whole world in his hands," and they were doing their arms like this. And that was really cool to see. The crowd's getting behind Bray Wyatt, even though he's a heel. I just love how the fans do what they want to do. And then Bray Wyatt kicked out of the Attitude Adjustment there at the end. And then Cena tackled Harper through the barricade. That was a cool spot. You know, he every once in a while he would just turn and go after one of those guys. And then Super Cena, you know, kicks out of Sister Abigail, which is Bray Wyatt's finisher. And, you know, somehow, I don't remember how, a chair gets in the ring. And Cena has got the chair, and Bray saying, finish me, wanting him to get disqualified and basically, you know, become a monster by, you know, bashing Bray Wyatt with the chair. And it looks like he's going to do it, and then he runs and hits Harper with the chair and knocks him out of the ring. And then basically the end came when Cena reversed the Sister Abigail into an attitude adjustment. And, I mean, it was a cool finish. You know, Cena went over, which I would have rather seen Bray Wyatt go over, but, you know, you can't win them all. You know, you can't have the heels go over in every match. So it looks like this feud's going to continue anyway, so they'll keep doing, you know, these matches, and I'm sure Bray Wyatt will go over eventually. But I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a good match, good psychology, like I said, so it was fun. The next match was a match that I'm sure everyone is still talking about: Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker. There was a cool entrance for Undertaker. He had caskets all laid out, and each one had like a black light over it, and it had the name of each opponent that he had dominated all the way up. And then 22 had Brock Lesnar's name on it, and it opened up, and a bunch of smoke came out of it and fire, and that was pretty cool. But it didn't look like Brock Lesnar was really, you know, too intimidated. So the match starts out. It was kind of slow. There was a lot of brawling back and forth. There was a lot of, you know, very slow, methodical holds and things like that. And, you know, at the beginning of the match, the crowd was so quiet. Like, they weren't even into it, it seemed like. Seemed like they were bored. And, you know, there was a lot of punches and kicks, punch, you know. Basically, Brock Lesnar just really putting the beating down to the Undertaker. And I know I read today online that Undertaker supposedly got injured. So maybe that played a part into it, but it looked like Undertaker was just beat down. I mean, it looked like after 5 minutes of the match that, you know, I could already tell, okay, this isn't going to be one of those classic matches like he had with Shawn Michaels or like he had with, who was after Shawn Michaels? Triple H last year. I mean, those were amazing matches. I mean, they really put it all on the line. And so anyway, halfway or into the match, Lesnar kicked out of a epic choke slam. And Lesnar sold it really well. I mean, Undertaker put him way up in the air and boom, slammed him down. And I mean, that was one thing I did notice, that Lesnar was really selling for the Undertaker, which I like, you know, showing him respect. And then, you know, later on, Undertaker kicks out of an F5. There was a very, like, awkward Lesnar where he was just kind of standing next to Undertaker. And then Undertaker kind of just grabbed him and put him in Hell's Gate, and it was really awkward. Like, if you go back and watch it, it was very awkward looking, is all I can say. I mean, I guess maybe that was where Undertaker got injured, and he was kind of like telling Lesnar, you know, hey, I need a minute or something. I don't know, but so then Lesnar drags Undertaker to the middle of the ring, and then Undertaker puts him in the Hell's Gate again. Lesnar like picked him up and slammed him down through the through that hold, and then Lesnar locks him the Kimura, you know, the arm on Undertaker, and like I said, there was a lot of just them laying in the ring doing these moves, and then Undertaker was gonna do his got up on the ropes and was gonna walk the ropes and do his signature move there, and instead Brock Lesnar pulled him onto his shoulders, gave him another F5, and that was the second F5, and then Taker kicks out of that one. So, and like, you know, the beginning of this match, no one thought that Brock Lesnar was going to go over here, that you know, Undertaker was going to lose and the streak was going to be over. Then, you know, there were some very weak German suplexes. You know, Brock Lesnar was German suplexing the Undertaker. I think he did it maybe 3 times, and it just looked very terrible. It looked like the Undertaker was so tired and out of it. So then you had the Tombstone Pile Driver. Undertaker gives Lesnar the Tombstone Pile Driver, and Lesnar kicks out at the last second. I thought for sure, that was the end of the match. But he kicks out, and then some more back and forth goes, and then Lesnar counters another Tombstone Pile Driver and reverses it to the F5. Boom, F5s him for the third time. 1, 2, 3, streak's over. And the crowd was silent, including me. I think everyone watching, the crowd, everybody was just sitting there like, let that sink in. The Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar. 21 years, The Undertaker won, time after time after time, beating legends of wrestling, beating Stone Cold, beating The Rock, beating Hulk Hogan, or I don't know if he wrestled Hulk Hogan. Anyway, beating the best of the best. And then he loses to Brock Lesnar, a guy who's not even a full-time wrestler in the WWE. I do not understand this at all. And if you follow me on Twitter, you saw my reaction right when it happened. And I don't like to use profanity on YouTube videos. I don't like to use profanity on social media just because you never know who's going to be on the other side of that. But I had to. I was just so mad at what happened. It was like, how can you let this guy who doesn't even wrestle full time go over Undertaker? To me, if I was Brock Lesnar and they came and said, hey, we want you to go over on Undertaker, I would have said, no, I'm not doing it. Out of respect for the Undertaker, we can have an epic match, but you're winning, because the streak was the last thing that the Undertaker had. And now I don't know if tonight on Raw he's going to retire, but that's it. There's no reason for him to compete ever again, because there's no reason to. So the streak was everything, especially for the Undertaker. So the history has been written. The streak's over. I don't understand why they booked it that way. I don't know how they could explain it and make it make sense. But even the commentary, Jerry the King and Michael Cole, they were on the side, and they were stunned too. It seemed, at least it really seemed like that way. And they were just quiet. They stood up, clapped. The Undertaker just kind of sat up and walked out of the ring. There was no real... everyone was just stunned. And I read online I saw on Twitter that some people got up and left the arena. And so, I'm sure they're regretting doing that now after, what happened afterwards. But, I almost would have done that too if I was there. I would have been so angry. I just would have been like, I don't even want to be here anymore. I don't know. So, to me, it was a terrible decision by the WWE. I don't know why they did that, but they did. So, the next match was the Divas Championship match. It was all the Divas in the ring. And honestly, I was still so shocked about The Undertaker. I was even thinking about that all day today, that I didn't even pay attention to this match, really. I was looking at Twitter and looking at Facebook and looking at, different things of people's reactions to what had just happened. And AJ goes over. She keeps the title. Who cares? And then, of course, the final match, we had Orton, Batista, and Daniel Bryan. This match was really great. It was awesome. It was everything you could ask for in a triple threat. I think it was probably the best triple threat match I've ever seen. Normally, triple threat matches are not that great because, you've always got two guys going at each other and one guy what do I do? So, I thought they did this really well. At the very beginning, Batista and Orton team up, attack Bryan, beat down his shoulder. They worked his shoulder big time. Batista backdropped Orton on the steel stairs, that was cool. And then he backdropped him again on the barricade, so he was working Orton's back. And then I was still thinking during that match about Undertaker, and I was like, man, if they were going to end the streak, they could have put this match last, and made it and passed the torch to someone who matters in the WWE, Let Undertaker ride into the sunset, the right way. I think, if they wanted to make him lose, why not make him lose to someone like, of course, CM Punk's not in there anymore, but somebody who was a worker and somebody that, could matter in the WWE, and then Undertaker could have, said his goodbyes and rode off into the sunset. But, they put The Undertaker last, I think, 2 years ago versus Shawn Michaels, and the WWE match, championship match, was like 2 matches before it. So I just don't understand this booking decision at all. So anyway, I'm digressing, but so back to that other match, there was a superplex in there off the top rope. Orton did to Batista. That was a cool spot. So there's a lot of back and forth, and Triple H and Stephanie come out. They distract and pull out the ref. They put in their Scott Armstrong, their crooked ref. So then, immediately you think, okay, this is gonna be a screw job. And I honestly believe if they had went that way, a screw job, that the fans would have rioted. After seeing Undertaker lose and then seeing Daniel Bryan get screwed, I mean, I'm sure they would have rioted. I mean, that's the only pay-per-view I think that, that's how much emotion that the WWE can bring out of its fans. So I can see in that regard, that's where they wanted to go with this. But, I still can't believe the Undertaker lost. Anyway, so they put in their crooked referee. Batista bombs Daniel Bryan, and he kicks out, which was amazing. Because, after they had just totally beat the crap out of him, I thought for sure he was going to lose. Then Daniel Bryan kicks the ref out of the ring, and Daniel drives out of the ring, or dives out of the ring onto Triple H and Stephanie and that crooked ref. So then Triple H gets angry, grabs a sledgehammer, jumps up in the ring. Daniel Bryan takes the sledgehammer from Triple H, hits Triple H with it. So it gets him knocked out. And then you got the crowd started chanting CM Punk during that match, which was crazy. But anyway, so then Batista gets up on the announce table, and you get Randy Orton up on the announce table. They pull Daniel Bryan up on the announce table. Batista brings Daniel Bryan up for a Batista bomb. Randy Orton catches him in the air, RKO's him through the announce table. That was an amazing spot. Randy Orton even landed on one of the monitors on his back, and his back was bleeding afterwards. So that was an incredible spot. They bring out a stretcher, put Daniel Bryan on the stretcher. They're bringing him to the back. So now you're thinking, okay, for sure Daniel Bryan's not going to win. After that, the amount of punishment he took during this pay-per-view, from the first match and then this one, you can say wrestling's fake all you want, but that dude took a beating. He earned his title. So, anyway, the end of the match comes. Orton hits an RKO. I already said that on the monitor. And then Orton DDTs Batista on the ground. Bryan gets off the stretcher, takes more punishment. Batista misses Orton and spears Daniel Bryan in the head, basically. Knocks him out of the ring. So then they get up. Orton RKO's Batista, gets a 2 count, almost wins, which, oh man, my heart was pumping at this point. And then Orton goes for the punt kick. It looks like he's finally going to become a heel like he's tried to be the last 6 months. Goes to do the punt kick, and Daniel Bryan comes flying in the ring, hits him with the flying knee, knocks him down. And then Batista bombs Orton, 2 count, so it almost looked like Batista was going to win. Then Daniel Bryan comes flying knee to Batista, knocks him down, puts him in the yes lock. Finally, after 10 seconds in the yes lock, Batista taps out, and Daniel Bryan wins. 5 out of 5 stars. That match went every which direction you could go with it. Up, down, left, right. He's going to win. No, he's going to win. Orton's going to win. No, Batista's going to win. Daniel Bryan wins. The confetti falls. The crowd is yes, yes. 75,000 people, yes, yes. And it was a cool moment to see Daniel Bryan get the title. I'm super glad he got it. And, you know, at the beginning of the pay-per-view, they were showing old clips of Daniel Bryan actually shaved with a haircut. God, he looks like a totally different person, and I hope he cuts his hair. But I know it's part of his gimmick, this long hair, but God, he looks terrible. But anyway, I love the guy as a wrestler. He fought his heart out. He took an ass beating. He earned his title, and I hope they let him keep it for a while. And, you know, I just hope that, you know, his reign goes for a little while. And I'm just, overall, I thought this WrestleMania was real good. Even with The Undertaker losing, I still think overall all the matches were really decent. You know, I don't know if there's anything really to complain about other than The Undertaker losing to Brock Lesnar. It's just ridiculous in my opinion. I haven't seen anybody who's supported that decision yet, but I mean, maybe we'll see on Raw, you know, what they're going to do or what they say about it. Maybe The Undertaker comes out and retires. Who knows? But I just, you know, like I said, overall, I think this WrestleMania was really good, and I look forward to watching more pay-per-views through the WWE Network and doing these reviews for you guys. So, anyway, that's my review for WrestleMania 30. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a long video, and I'm out.